Hello and welcome to Simply Technical. We're back again. We're going to discuss OU football. I'm one of your co-hosts, Evan, and Keaton's down there on the end. And we got a first-time guest of Ryan.
What's up?
We're going to talk about, like I said, we're going to talk about OU football and maybe even other teams. Ryan said he doesn't care very much about other teams, but I don't blame him. We're mainly going to talk about OU Texas, and then we'll go in deeper detail of OU football, whether that's the past games, state of the organization or program, I guess. Upcoming games, and kind of grading players, I guess, is another topic. And we'll kind of just riff as we say. Hey, future Evan here. And we recorded this podcast right before the Kansas State OU game. So our predictions are going to be a little off since we didn't anticipate Kansas State beating OU. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. So, Ryan, what were your initial thoughts on OU Texas?
I think the first thing that came to mind was mainly why was Mike Stoops not fired 3 years ago? That was the first thing that came to my mind. When I was watching the game, I was like, oh my goodness, we literally gave away 2 national championships because Mike Stoops was still on staff.
That's true.
Like, that was the first. And, like, secondly, Oklahoma, whatever Alex Grinch asked for, money-wise, give it to him. 100%.
Yep.
He's worth every dime because some of the blitz packages and just how aggressive he was during the game kind of shows this is no longer Mike Stoops' defense. So that was my first initial reaction to the game.
That was every
exactly.
Because this is the game where, like, I mean, most people have been complaining about Mike Stoops for years
Since he got hired, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, because he did start out really strong, but I don't know what his deal was, but it was this game last year that it was like the pinnacle. I mean, he got fired after this game. I'm pretty sure it was OU Texas last year.
Yeah, like literally a day after.
Yeah.
it was Sunday night that he got fired. So yeah.
On his day off.
Exactly. Yeah, they called him in. But
well, why do you think that he stuck around so long? Why do you think? You think it was Bob's?
It's Bob. It's 100% Bob. Yeah, his brother ran the show. I mean, his brother is a legend in Oklahoma. He has his own statue. Yeah, that pretty much makes
so
you a
nepotism.
legend.
Nepotism was the
main
contributor to that. Yeah. I mean, I've heard OU fans complain for a long time about Mike. I've even complained about it because, I mean, you expect Big 12 defenses to be bad, but OU was one of the worst in the whole country.
Yeah, exactly.
I think top 5 in worst defenses last year.
Top
I don't
worst.
know how to word that.
Top worst.
Well, there's 132 defense or teams, and I think that we were 129. So, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Number 1 offense with the worst defense.
Exactly. I mean, they
literally a shootout every game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we let Kansas score 40 points last year. So, yeah.
That's insane.
But I mean, but really, what was Mike thinking? Like when you have your cornerbacks 15 yards off the line of scrimmage.
That was always my biggest complaint. I remember watching the Baylor game. Like
it looked like we didn't even have cornerbacks, because they were so far off of the
we played 4
they
safeties.
Just
exactly,
field, like 7-yard passes.
It's like playing. What were we playing? Cover 3 every time.
Yeah,
prevent defense.
I know. It was like it was the last minute of the game, and we were ahead by a touchdown or something. But
so every game was a shootout, and so you said Alex Grinch just really stepped it up. What I noticed is everybody was flying to the ball. Everybody was. I remember playing football, and everybody was, "Oh, you got to get to the ball," And I was like, on offense, I was like, "I'm way back here at the line of scrimmage blocking. I don't really care. You guys get to the ball if you want." But
right. Well, I think he made aggressiveness such a key in the off season and up to the game that I even heard an interview where he was like, if we don't get a certain amount of pass interference calls against us or a certain amount of calls against us, we're not playing hard enough. And I just I was like, dude, that is so much different than we've had in the last 3 years. like a guy that doesn't care if you get a pass interference call as long as you're playing hard and playing aggressive. Like, that's his mindset. So I think he's completely changed the mindset of the team. I mean, because these are talented players.
Yes.
I mean, these are guys that have had offers from, basically every football program in the country, and it wasn't talent. That wasn't the problem of the defense. It was really every time that the scheme, and every time that they'd have a play called, they were looking to the sidelines and thinking, like, what's going on? I don't know what we're doing. Like, we practiced this all week, but I still don't know what we're doing. And so it's pretty obvious what the problem was. It was Mike Stoops, but I think the state of this defense right now, I'm excited. I'm actually excited about the defense, which I don't remember the last time I said that.
I didn't
at
even
all.
watch OU the last time. I could have been excited about the defense.
Yeah.
So going off on the defense, Kenneth Murray, right? Isn't he the stud for the defense?
Oh my goodness, he's gotten so much better. Odom, I didn't really know anything about this guy before he came to OU, but he's really, you can tell that Kenneth is really motivated.
He's even marketing himself on Twitter.
Exactly. And he's a pretty humble guy, I thought, before, he started marketing himself. Like, I thought he was but he's really motivated to be the next Buckets Award winners at OU. So, I think that's awesome.
He's
so,
like the energy behind the defense, pretty much.
Definitely. And how fast he is. He's 240 pounds, but he moves like he's a cornerback. I mean, he's so freaking fast, horizontally.
I see him in almost every play.
He sort of reminds me of Stryker a few years ago.
A little bit different position, but
different position, but just
wasn't Stryker a little bit lighter too?
Yeah, but
he was a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Stryker was.
He
just
was always
edge
in the
rough.
back.
Yeah.
He was always in the backfield.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of a pest to the defense. I mean, I don't know if Kenneth really isn't a pest. He's more of like, I'm gonna hit you really hard. Like
he's one of those guys that I hated playing against.
Yeah.
Hit you in the mouth and keep hitting you in the mouth until I cry.
Exactly. So I think Sam Ellinger's gonna have some nightmares about that dude for a while.
Do you think we're gonna play them again in the Big 12 championship like last year?
I don't know because I think why I don't know is because I don't know how good Baylor is.
Yeah.
And I don't know how good Iowa State is. Iowa State always starts the year off with like 2 losses that you're like, what in the world? Why did you guys lose to, Iowa? They always lose to Iowa, and I never think that Iowa is that good. So, I mean, I think we kind of have to see where Baylor is and where, some of these other teams are before we, declare that they're going to be in the Big 12 championship, because I think, defensively, Texas really has some holes right now because of injury. I mean, injuries have really plagued them this year, so we'll have to see.
And being overhyped.
Yeah, that too. I think
I
that they're really missing kind of some of the speed guys that they had last year, with little Jordan Humphrey and dadgum, I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was there forever, it seemed like. But
it wasn't Shipley, was it?
No,
Shipley was so long ago.
That was long
ago.
I know he had a brother that was there that was not very good.
Oh, okay.
But
Shipley was back with Colt McCoy. What was that? 2010.
Yeah, I mean they really lack skill players, and that's something OU does not lack at all. I mean they literally had a backup quarterback as their running back this previous week.
Was that
so
Johnson? I want to say Johnson, but
I think that's his name. I think that is his name.
He tore up the defense a little bit.
He was obviously their best running back, which is probably not a good thing. That your backup running back or a backup quarterback is your best running back. But, I mean, injuries plague that too. So, but you can't really feel sorry for Texas because they recruit so well every single year. They basically get whoever they want out of the state of Texas. So
those kids get distracted down in Austin. That's what I've been saying for years.
yeah, it's pretty much a country club, and
they're just partying all the time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sounds like our college life.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a great time. Or I did. I don't know about you two.
We focused on school.
I was there. I did school, kind of.
Okay, so before we get off the defense stuff, I was gonna say. So last year, my least favorite player on OU was Motley, and it seems like he's like completely changed his game this year. He's become probably, I mean, one of our best corners, if not the best.
I think he's our best.
Yeah.
Just because he has the body type that the other guys don't.
Yeah, they're all kind of small.
I mean, all the other cornerbacks we have are like 5'9", 5'10",
Yeah.
and Motley is a good 6 foot. And there was a play where he knocked the ball out of a Texas receiver's hand, and it was like none of the other cornerbacks could have done that because they're just not long enough.
Yeah.
And that's really it. Grinch is recruiting cornerbacks that are all over 6 foot.
Yeah, I know.
So
I noticed that.
he's like, he does not want anybody
No more
that's
small
the same size as they have now. So, which is good. I mean, that really fits his system of like, because obviously the linebackers and defensive linemen are just attack, and these Big 12 offenses that throw all the time. They got to have cornerbacks that can cover for not like a super long amount of time, because you want your linebackers and defensive linemen to get upfield and create havoc, because they're only supposed to be holding for a certain amount of time on the back end. So
Yeah.
Well, I know on offense, when I was an offensive lineman, they said you can block for 5 to 6 seconds. You're doing your job.
right,
If you do longer than 5 or 6 seconds, you're fantastic, and you're gonna be. You might be playing on Saturdays.
right.
And some of us weren't very good, so we didn't hold for 5-6 seconds. But so I mean, if you take that aspect and apply it to defense, also, you know, a corner only has to hold for 5 seconds, and I mean, for those guys, they're super fast, so that can be a considerable distance.
Yeah.
But if you, like I said, if you apply that, you only have to hold 5-6 seconds. And on the defense, are they running mainly man or zone?
It's mainly man, from what I see.
And if I'm not wrong, I mean, I think Stoops was running mainly zone.
Yeah, well, he ran zone.
Only zone.
Zone like 10 yards off of the line of scrimmage. I mean, yeah. I mean, I already said it, but like, there'd be plays where you couldn't even see the cornerbacks in the screen because they'd be so far off of the line of scrimmage. The cameraman wasn't even looking at them. So, but yeah.
So I mean, man is a good way. If your corners can cover, man is a good way to get after the quarterback, because then you don't have to cover as much space. You're only you're only worried about one guy.
Yeah.
And then you can have more people attacking, more people being aggressive.
Yeah, and he did a lot of like safety blitzes on Saturday, where it was kind of a delayed blitz, where it almost seemed like the defensive linemen were kind of clearing out the offensive linemen to a certain way, and it gave a lane straight to the quarterback for, I can't remember, Fields. I think that was the guy that got home. He ran a couple of safety blitzes, though. I mean, he runs so many different blitzes. I mean, I'm a football guy, and like, I'll watch all the moving pieces, and he's very good, and you can tell that he spent a lot of time in the film room when he's watching for Texas. I mean, he basically took away their screen game, which they do so many screens, those bubble screens out to the side. That was a no-go. I mean, every single time that was lined up, Buki would go in there, which I'm not a big fan of Buki. I don't know how you guys feel about him. I feel like he's kind of overhyped when he came in, but this was probably his best game.
Yeah.
Because he was always busting up those bubble screens, and there was a lot of other plays where it was like a toss out to the running back, and you can tell that all those guys really watched film because they could identify the play.
Yep.
They knew what was going to happen before it did. And that helped Kenneth Murray, too. I mean, he had a great day, and all the time that, I mean, he spent in the film room, and he's talked about that so much of how much time he spends in the film room and how that's helped him. So, but yeah. You want to talk about maybe the offense a little bit?
Yeah. I don't think it was the best offensive game that we've had this year, but obviously, I mean, when we scored 70 points against, who was it, South Dakota, I mean, obviously we're not going to be – it doesn't count. We're not going to be playing as well as that, but I think, obviously, if we had cut down on the turnovers and maybe been slightly more efficient on third down, we would have just killed it. Like, you just destroyed them.
Yeah, this game, to me, it wasn't near as close as the score said.
No, not even, no. No, it kind of seemed, I feel like this is the first time since, I can't even remember, since OU physically dominated Texas.
Yeah.
I feel like Texas has physically dominated the game probably since the Landry Jones era.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the blowouts that we had while Landry Jones was there, that was probably the last time I can remember us physically dominating this game. But yeah, I feel like we haven't done that in a long, long time. And I was actually surprised. I subscribed to a recruiting service or whatever, and they were saying that the tackles weren't going to play in this game, and they ended up both playing.
They both played, yeah.
So I was super surprised about that. I think Ely is a very talented football player. Swinson, I'm a little nervous about.
Yeah.
He's got slow feet, and I feel like when we go up against the Alabamas and like the Clemsons and stuff like that, that might be a problem, because the defensive coordinator is going to be looking at that and just kind of kind of lick their lips a little bit. So,
Those are the tackles. Sorry, I'm not familiar with all
the
names.
tackles. So Swinson is the right tackle. But yeah, he's a little slow. I know he's been banged up, but even before this, I mean, he was letting guys in South Dakota. I mean, they both played very well this past weekend. So maybe I'm wrong, but I think Swinson might be a problem. I don't know if that's the answer at right tackle quite yet.
What
I know
year
that.
is he?
Oh, good.
I think he's a senior or junior.
Okay, so they just...
We've
always kind of
he redshirted one of those years, so I don't
Yeah.
know what year he is anymore.
I know that when I was playing Friday Night Lights,
back in my day.
back in the high school days,
5-time state champion.
that's not true. 0-time state champion. But I mean, my coach would always be like, "Oh, these guys are really good," and then I'd go out and play like extremely hard. Like I'd play like, "Oh, these guys are good,"
Right.
and then like after the first couple of drives, I'm like, "These guys suck. Why did my coach tell me they were good?"
Kind of play up to the competition type of stuff.
And maybe that's what he's experiencing. Maybe I would hope that a college athlete wouldn't be like that, but maybe
Yeah.
there's a reason I didn't go to the next level.
They didn't do too great against coming out the game. Well, they didn't play against Kansas. But,
No, they didn't play.
But overall, the offense didn't do too great. It's probably a little bit of just to take the week off.
No, I mean, they look sluggish against Kansas, and
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, I mean, they moved the ball against Texas. Moving the ball was not the problem.
Well, I mean, if you, like I said, you cut down on those 2 turnovers by Jalen.
It was really the turnovers in the red zone that just killed
It
us.
ruined that. Yeah, we could have had that game done in the first half.
Oh yeah, I mean, it should have been 28, maybe to 3.
Yep.
I mean, I don't even know if 3, because if we kept the ball there, I don't know if they even go down and score.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it shouldn't have even been as close as it was, but
Well, I don't have the Keaton, do you have stats pulled up on it? You might not, but
Get 'em in a second.
did Jalen? My question is, did Jalen lead rushing for OU?
Oh, I don't have to look up the stats. I'm sure.
I'm sure he did. I mean, it's either him or
Sermon?
Kennedy. No,
Okay.
Sermon didn't even get a carry.
Didn't even get a carry.
Oh, he
yeah.
didn't?
Why
No.
is that?
That might have just been how it played out, because Lincoln said several times that he just rides the hot hand, and Kennedy was playing really well.
Yeah.
But
Because I was looking at stats before the podcast, and Sermon, it seemed like every week it was Jalen Hurts was leading in rushing, and had usually over 100 yards. If not every game, he had over 100 yards, and then it was Sermon next on.
yeah.
So that's why I asked about that. I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of having your quarterback
That's
be.
the wrong year.
I'm calm out. I'm personally not one to have my quarterback lead in rushing every game, or even any game. I wouldn't want that. But
And he said that they were talking about him not playing as well, and he said that he jammed his throwing hand.
this is Jalen.
Yeah, on the first drive.
Oh.
So I wonder if that has something to do with the turnovers. But even still, some of the boneheaded mistakes he made, he was throwing across his body. I mean,
The
in like
interception.
triple coverage, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? So I think he probably could have. He probably could have thrown 2 more interceptions at least
Yeah.
in that game. I mean,
Well, he's played in the Iron Bowl. I don't know why he was so affected.
it's not even the same thing. Like,
I'm just going off his comments. He said are you ready to play? Well, I think the question was, are you ready to play in this big game against Texas? And he's like, well, I played in the Iron Bowl, so I know what it's all about.
The Iron Bowl is not as
not the
big
close
of a
to the
game.
same thing. Because this is like, I mean, this is like the definition of a neutral field.
Yeah.
There's no like home team. I mean, it's split down the middle, so you're at home.
They do a
and
good
you're
job
away.
of that. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was. So maybe that has something to do. Maybe him, jamming his.
Yeah.
He said like part of his hand was swollen. I don't know how much I believe that, but
Pansy.
I don't know.
I hate it when players come after the game and talk about how they're some small.
If
injury.
you're injured, just get out of the game.
Just don't.
Yeah.
No, just don't tell anyone you were hurt. Like, suck it up. You decided to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that we kind of learned a little bit something about Jalen. I think he's a great college quarterback. But we at Oklahoma, like us as fans, we've been so spoiled having Baker and then Kyler, like back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners. At like these are both generation talents, at quarterback position. And then, we kind of come back down to earth as far as Jalen a little bit. But I think the way Lincoln schemes people open, you don't even really have to be that accurate with football. I mean, like, there are some of those throws that I'm like, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
Like, that guy there's not a guy within 15 yards of that dude,
Yeah.
So you don't really have to be that accurate with some of the ways that he schemes people open. He does such a good job of that. So,
Well, that CD Lamb play I thought was pretty. Well,
which one?
The one where he caught it in traffic and there was 4 guys around him.
Oh, the one that went viral. That
Yeah.
like CD scored on this play
Yeah.
type of thing.
There's like 5
there's
dudes
like
around
5
him.
dudes around him. Yeah.
Maybe that just is a tribute
That-
to how bad their defense is. But
We can actually play a game real quick. CD Lamb is the best receiver Oklahoma's had since.
You think he's better than Marquise Brown?
Yes.
Why?
Overall.
Overall, okay.
Overall.
But
Okay,
he won't- he
take
won't
away.
be better in the NFL, I don't think, because he doesn't have the speed. I think he has the best hands we've ever seen at OU, but he's not that fast.
I'm trying to think of great
I think he's
great wide receivers.
I think he's fast, dude. He was getting past a lot of people yesterday.
He's strong. He's
He's
the
super strong.
strongest receiver.
He is really strong. He wasn't always like that though. I mean, the dude's one of the better route runners that we've
Yeah.
had in a long time, and probably since Didi.
Yeah, Didi. I forgot about Didi.
Didi was a great route runner.
We've had a great receiver every single year. That's another thing. So we've had Baker, and Baker had Didi, and then he had he had Sterling and Didi, and then Didi, and then Kyler comes in, and he had Marquise Brown, and then Kyler
Yeah.
comes in and has Marquise Brown and CD, and now CD's taking over that top dog spot. And it's just like every year we have a standout receiver. I mean, even looking at the stats right here, CD had 10 receptions compared to the next most. Rambo had 3, and he only had 23 yards.
Right.
So it's just like we have that target that our quarterback's aiming for almost every time. So
Well, that's why I think it makes it more impressive. Like,
that is-
Texas knew who they were trying to get the ball to,
yeah,
and he still continuously got open. And after that, he would make people miss or run through people. So that's why I'm saying, like, he is one of the most impressive receivers physically that we've had in
yeah.
probably ever. I don't remember the last time that we've had a receiver like this.
I mean, he's my favorite receiver that we've had out of the last bunch.
No, I mean,
Well, I mean, what other ones would you compare him to?
Well, Marquise Brown is different because
He's-
so
what I'm saying is why I think he's so good is because he's good at everything.
yeah, he doesn't just
He's
run
like
it.
so complete as a receiver. Marquise was more of just the speed guy.
Yeah.
He had the go route. That's
Yeah,
his
what I was
route
about to say,
tree.
yeah.
You know, CD's route tree is so much more diverse than any of these guys that we've had in recent memory. Sterling is one of those guys that I love to watch play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just thinking about like if I could pick, if I had my choice, like man, I think I'd pick CD from recent memory. I can't remember a receiver that I would probably take the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of physically.
Kenny Stills.
No.
I'm just trying to think of OU wide receivers to try to compare him to.
Malcolm Kelly for the
Malcolm
Yeah.
Kelly.
for the Reds.
Well, Malcolm Kelly, his rap game is 10 times better than CD's, I'm sure.
Oh,
I don't know
100%.
about that.
100%. 100%. Now, CD's a little awkward, I've heard. He's not really like. But, yeah.
I haven't heard anything.
No.
I honestly thought what is the best wide receiver? Or like what is that award called each year?
Blitnikoff.
I thought last year watching him against who did we lose to in the playoff again?
Alabama.
Watching him against Bama, I was like,
That's what I'm saying. Against the
He's-
most elite competition,
yeah,
CD has his best games.
yep,
So that's why I'm thinking, like, man, when is the last time that we've had a wide receiver that is that good?
that good,
I mean, that can consistently get open against basically anyone.
and he can catch it in traffic.
Yeah, I mean, his hand,
he
he
has
has
the best hands.
best hands. I mean, like, I know it didn't count, but that
No,
catch against UCLA,
Yes.
that's one of the greatest catches
Yes.
I've ever seen.
Yep.
Like, that might, like, beat out the Odell thing. Like, it was
Yeah,
basically
it-
Odell. Like, that's basically what it was. So,
I remember that.
that was I was there, and I didn't even really, because there was, like, a bunch of people around him, and I couldn't really even see. I just saw his hand stick up out
Yeah.
of the air.
No,
and
I was
he
there too.
grabbed
I
the ball. I was
remember.
like, what in the world just happened? But, yeah, I mean, he's incredible. He's really good.
So, out of all the games, Texas has been the toughest matchup so far. We
Right.
can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, one thing I noticed about Texas defense was they were in the backfield quite a bit. Do you think that really affected Jalen?
I didn't really notice that.
I was thinking it seems like every time, at least in the first half, maybe that was just a fluke, but it just seemed like they were in the backfield, or they were driving the ball okay, but it just seemed like a struggle. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm misinterpreting things, or
Well, I mean, some of the ways that they run the ball, the pulling that they do, some of that there's going to be people in the backfield. But again, I think that Swenson, there was a couple times that he got beat, and I know he's pulling through an injury, but I still, even when he wasn't injured, I kind of went away from the South Dakota game and the Houston game thinking, man, I don't know if that guy is as good as
he's
definitely not
D1
as
starter.
definitely not as good as what we've had in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had.
Well, I mean, you have first round picks.
Yeah, exactly.
Every
Well, I don't
every
know
year.
if they went first, but draft picks.
yeah.
NFL guys. I just don't think Swenson is an NFL guy because his feet. He kind of acts like he has weights attached to the end of him. Sometimes
He needs to be playing basketball. Get his footwork up.
that guy's way too big to be playing basketball.
But that'll help your footwork. Anyways, so I just thought he was there was in the backfield quite a bit. Like I said, maybe I was wrong, but
yeah, I mean, like I said, like sometimes it's just the way that they run the ball that there are going to be people in the backfield, but it's part of their system, the way that they pull both the tackle and the guard on one side. There's going to be people.
yeah, some counter plays. Yeah.
some counters. So, but yeah, there's going to be people in the backfield sometimes. But yeah, I did think that Swenson got beat a couple times. But for the most part, though, they played pretty well.
Like we said, it's the toughest matchup they've had so far. So.
Yeah, exactly. And that Hayes kid, that dude is a monster. I think he's on the left side, the left guard.
Oh, I didn't even.
He's gigantic.
Yeah.
He's 6'5", 340, and he's just massive. I mean, there was a play. I almost thought he was gonna get called for like a an unsportsmanlike conduct because it was after the play was over. They were in the end zone. It was the play that Jalen scored on when they were on the 1 yard line, and he runs in. It was like I think it's the last time they scored. But Hayes literally throws a defensive tackle to the ground and like pushes his face into the ground. Like after the play was already over. The play was done. They were literally celebrating. Hayes is I just look at the TV and the guy is in the background throwing a defensive tackle to the ground and shoving his face into the ground. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's going to get called. It did get called. I guess the guy didn't see it, but it was like right in front of the ref too. I don't know how he didn't see it. But yeah, that dude's a monster.
I mean, it sounds like he's taking care of his duties. I mean, his just job.
Yeah, I mean, well, the last couple of lines have had guys like that. The Orlando Brown. Sometimes he's gonna that dude threw punches in games.
Yeah.
And so did Cody Ford. I mean, Cody Ford was the exact same way. He literally punched a Texas Tech guy in the helmet, like just hit him in the helmet.
Yeah.
I'm like. First of all, if anybody throws a punch in the helmet, that dude's insane. Mentally, the dude is insane. Like don't mess with that dude. That guy he's got some things going on right up there, But yeah, I think for the most part, the interior especially. I mean, you have Creed in the middle. He's an All-American candidate. I mean, he's always solid, and like I said, I'm really impressed with Hayes. I think he's that rough guy and right up there in the middle. So I think he's really good too. But yeah, like I said, I think Ely's a really good player, but Swinson, I think the verdict's still out on Swinson. A little slow compared to our previous left tackles that we've had in the past. So. But for the most part, kind of the takeaways I had from the game, Hurts probably hurt his Heisman chances, I would think. A little bit.
I thought that, and then to me it's like people forget that all they care about in the end is the stats. And the stats, if you take away the turnovers, which people typically don't pay attention to in college, his stats look pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, that could help him quite a bit. I mean, when he ends up being like a 1,500-yard rusher and however many yards passing, I don't think people will care.
Close to 1,300 yards passing.
No.
He only has 3 interceptions. I mean, and 1 fumble. I think is what his turnovers count is.
How many? Did you look up how many yards he has?
I think he had over 13
total or in that game.
Well, both. Probably.
So in the game, he had 235 passing yards and he had 130 rushing yards.
Okay.
So I mean, a pretty solid game.
A real Cam Newton.
That's who he reminds me of, actually. Just the way he runs the ball. I mean, how big he is and just how he looks throwing it most of the time.
Have you seen a video of him squatting?
Yes, that dude's a maniac.
He's stronger than probably almost every dude on that field.
Maybe some of the low offensive linemen, but I don't even know, like, especially some of the younger guys. He's probably stronger than some of the younger offensive linemen. So.
Well, how much did he squat?
600.
600 pounds.
So let's see. In high school, we had power lifters.
Evan, he's stronger than you.
No. I'm not. I didn't power lift. No, I'm 1,000% sure he's stronger than me.
I thought you were about to bring that
especially
up.
Right now. No.
Like,
but
dude,
I was thinking. I'm just trying to put into perspective. So seniors in high school that were like competitively lifting were probably squatting. Like heavyweight were.
I mean, it depends on
probably 400, 450, maybe 500.
It depends on the weight class. Like,
yeah. Well, I said heavyweight. Heavyweight probably around 500.
Yeah.
But obviously he's not.
Dude's just built
heavyweight.
Like
I mean, I guess maybe for high school.
All those corners that said they were going.
Yeah, that didn't even make sense. Yeah. Like, why would you say that? You seen that dude? That dude's like huge.
Yeah, and my favorite part.
He looks like a freaking linebacker.
He injured one of those corners at one of the very last plays.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that's on you guys. Like, honestly, y'all brought that on yourselves. Yeah. But.
So how many yards did he have, Keaton?
So this season he's at 1,700.
Oh, I said almost at 1,300.
Rushing?
Passing.
Oh, yeah, I was like, what the heck?
Passing.
No.
Rushing.
So almost 700 rushing and almost 1,800 passing.
Yeah, well,
No.
600 rushing.
Oh, 600. Okay.
Yeah.
So he'll at least be at 1,200 rushing at the
yeah.
end of the year.
Yeah.
And
And he hasn't really played in the fourth quarter except for this.
That's
Texas
true.
game.
That's true. Yeah, and they
Well, wasn't that the biggest knock on Tua last year? Was he didn't have the stats, but everybody was like, "We didn't even play the fourth quarter."
Well, neither did Kyler. But that's last year.
well, Kyler did because we were in shootouts every single
That
game.
is
We had
true.
Mike Stu's
That is
defense,
true.
but we let Kansas score
That is
40
true.
points. So,
Well, at least we didn't lose to Kansas like Texas.
Yeah, I take that back.
wow.
So,
no
yeah.
one really won that game, but yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of Heisman, I guess I can continue on, but I almost feel like they think, oh well, we didn't give it to Tua last year, might as well give it to him this year.
I don't think they'll be like that.
You don't think so?
No.
Because last year I was like, just give it to Kyler. Tua has next year.
The media loves a
Comeback
good
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the only that's like the main thing I feel like Jalen has in his favor is like the comeback story.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Jalen. He's as good of a quarterback as I could have wished for this year. Man, like you
besides Baker or Kyler.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, but to me, if we're stuck in the fifth position, looking at outside in on the playoffs, they're gonna put us in the playoffs because we have Jalen Hurts and they want that Jalen Hurts Alabama matchup so desperately.
Dude, the
It's all about the
ratings,
ratings,
are
yeah.
going to be so good in that game.
Oh yeah, they're
Oh,
praying
man.
that OU wins out.
Dude, but I don't even know if Alabama has to play Auburn and LSU
Yeah,
LSU's
just
pretty
to
good this year.
get exactly. LSU's I mean, there's I've seen so many polls where they're number 1 in a lot of people's
didn't
polls.
they barely beat Texas though?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't watched any game except for
Maybe
that,
OU's
so
just that good.
Could be.
not
I mean, I just don't think it OU's not that good because of just their offense though.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
defense.
In the last couple of years. I mean, like Kyler and Baker probably are They probably watched this previous game and were just cussing at the TV the entire time. That's what I would be doing. I would be cussing at that TV. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
No, they're preparing for Sunday.
Mhm.
They're not watching the game. They're preparing.
Well, Kyler was.
They better be
Kyler was
for
preparing.
Sunday.
Baker was over there drinking before or something on Saturdays. He was partying it up because he doesn't really care what happens on Sundays apparently.
It's coming from the guy that's wearing his jersey.
I drafted him in fantasy, but
You know what? Baker just needs his comeback story. He had to be the underdog again. He'll be back
He's
next year.
undraftable. So.
he's got to get cut. And then he'll come back and he'll be the best quarterback. And then
Well, he has to
History
walk
of the
on.
NFL.
He has to
Yeah,
walk onto a team. He
exactly.
can't get paid. He has to
open
walk
tryout, and they're gonna have Baker Mayfield come out there.
I mean, I love Baker, and I don't watch NFL very much, but I watched a few games last year, thought he was great. But when I saw him coming this year, he looked so out of shape coming into the season, and I was like, did he even work in the offseason?
he kind of has a little tummy on him,
Yeah.
but the
Johnny
biggest
Manziel
difference I've
2.0.
noticed is the offensive line for Cleveland
It's awful.
is so bad. I mean, the dude's running for his life. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Maybe that's why he said he didn't get in shape. He's gonna have to run every Sunday
He'll get
out of the
Yeah,
pocket.
so about mid-season, he'll be ready to go.
So you want to look at the games that are coming up, and then we can talk about maybe what we're looking at next year for OU too.
No,
Is that a good good point?
Yeah.
Play West Virginia next or something.
yeah, we play West Virginia.
Is that where Austin Kendall
yep.
went?
Yep.
So he knows.
I don't even think
knows
he's
the
gonna play. I
offense.
think he got hurt last game.
Okay, but I mean, the
I think
biggest
that's
advantage
questionable.
they have is his brain.
Austin Kindles.
Yeah.
Shoot, they might have
is he that
recruited him
smart?
just because he knows what Lincoln's
Does,
thinking.
yeah, his game.
like maybe I don't know. I mean, they're not gonna win the game. I don't think it really
that's-
matters.
that's
But
the reason why OU wasn't going to allow him to have eligibility this year.
yeah, but I
Very
think
smart.
then Lincoln looked at their roster and was like, "Yeah, no, whatever.
I think he was
Who
getting so
cares?
much flack from the media.
Who cares?" I mean, they literally graduated. Like I think it was 9 starters on defense and 9 on
Oh,
offense.
I didn't know.
So, yeah, I think Lincoln looked at their roster and was like, "Yeah, never mind. Don't
Yeah,
worry
it
about
doesn't
it.
matter.
Go ahead. Yeah, whatever." But Yeah, no, they graduated. I mean, they've done better than I thought they would.
So what's their record, Keaton?
I think they've won at least 2 games.
3-3.
There you go.
Kind of sucks for Austin Kendall. You know, he
Well, OU has the bye week next week, right?
oh,
They have bye week, and then after that they play.
No, they're playing this Saturday.
Oh, they are? Oh, okay. When's their bye then?
Austin Kendall's most memorable moment at OU would have had to been when he called Ohio State's defense average or simple. I think he used the word simple. It's a simple defense. Baker should do fine. And we lose the game by 30 points. That's what Austin Kendall is most known for. But yeah, he wasn't ever seen in another interview. Bob Stoops basically buried him on the depth chart. Said, "You're never talking to anybody ever again, and I'm gonna make sure."
Stay in the hotel room.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like,
Where
he was a 5-star recruit, wasn't he?
He was 4-star, yeah.
Oh, he was a 4-star.
Oh, yeah.
He was given the keys to the kingdom, and Baker shows up and takes 2 of his years. He's like, all right, you're gonna play next year. And then Kyler steps in. Like, okay, Kyler's gone. You're playing for sure.
Yeah.
And Jalen transfers.
But I mean,
Makes me feel bad for the guy.
the thing is, though, would Lincoln recruit somebody else if he was really good?
Yeah, no.
So, I mean, I think Lincoln knew what he had in Austin Kendall,
Yeah,
you know, so I don't know.
yeah, you're right.
But, yeah, I'm not really worried about West Virginia. I think I'm really intrigued, though, about OSU. OSU has looked halfway decent
Really.
in some of their games, and they played Texas pretty tough. And, you know, Bedlam, I mean, you don't know how that
You
goes.
never know.
You never know how that game's going, so.
Well, I mean, you got what? Isn't he a freshman quarterback?
Yeah. Well, I think, redshirt freshman.
Redshirt
but yeah.
freshman. So
he's-
he's learning as they go.
Yeah.
Well, you might know, you might not. How was it when OU Bedlam year versus Mason?
Which one?
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I know, but which?
His first year. Since that was his first.
I think the first
Because
year.
the first year was.
Was that the year that he, played, kind of hurt? Because that year he didn't do very well.
So there was Mason's first year that he played. I think it was Clint.
And they even brought in somebody else.
No, I think it was Mason was the guy they brought in.
Maybe that's
Maybe I'm
it.
wrong.
Maybe I
But-
can't remember.
Everybody was in the program was talking about, well, I guess we're just going to give up, so we'll make sure nobody gets hurt, and we'll just try again next year. And then they said, no. Gundy said, no, we're going to remove the red shirt from Mason Rudolph
Oh yeah, he wasted a redshirt year for that.
for like 3 or 4 games, and that was before the rule of you can play 4 games and
Yeah.
still transfer. And I think is that rule still apply for redshirt too? You can play 4 games in redshirt, or is that not true?
Well, yeah, that just passed. That
Yeah.
was last year was the first year that was.
Yeah, so
available.
that would have affected quite a bit. I mean, if that
Yeah.
rule was still around, or was then.
Yeah.
But yeah, they wasted a redshirt year for him to play 4 games.
I mean, Gundy's kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
To be honest.
How long is he gonna
he's
be
done
there?
so many things. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Like he was at a pep rally, take his shirt off and stuff like that. I'm like, you're a grown man.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man? Like that felt like a midlife crisis type of thing. Like he's like, I gotta go to impress a bunch of college kids.
He looks
know?
like a midlife crisis.
The mullet, and
Yeah.
you expect him to be smoking a cigarette, listening to Van Halen somewhere, But
I mean, OSU every year seems like they pull something out to at least give OU a run for their money.
yeah.
At least in the recent years.
No.
Who knows what they'll pull
that
out this year.
quarterback's pretty good, and they have Wallace, the Blitnikoff finalist, I believe he was last year.
Yeah.
And that Hubbard kid is really good. He's so fast. I mean, yeah, he's one of the fastest running backs I've ever seen. I mean, he's so quick. I don't know what his 40 time is, but I would love to know what his 40 time is because he's ridiculous.
You talking about what's his name? Chuba Hubbard?
Yeah,
Or-
Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard.
He's
from Canada.
I seen some memes where they just him carrying everything in the world and him carrying the OU offense.
OSU.
Or OSU offense,
Yeah.
Carrying the OSU offense.
At times, man, he has. I mean, especially against Texas, I mean, they literally.
Just handed the ball off to him every
Well,
time.
I mean, what's their quarterback's name?
Spencer?
Spencer
I think
Sanders.
so.
Spencer Sanders. And he made like a couple bad passes, and they just went straight to the run game. Like they didn't throw it after that. Like they're like, yeah, this is it. Like this kid gets in his own head and stuff. So,
well, then that'll be perfect for the OU defense.
for the OU defense. So maybe I'm not that worried about it. But
Can we defend the run well?
against them, I don't know, because that's going to be the best run game we've seen.
Yep.
By far.
Well, big plays. I mean, big plays almost hurt OU against Texas. So
yeah,
that might be an issue. I mean, obviously you don't expect a big play every drive.
Well, especially with the attacking style that they play. I mean, they play a zero gap scheme where they're going straight, and they're going up the field. So they hit the wrong gap, and that guy goes through that gap. I mean, he's gone.
He got 20 yards
I mean, he's
at
got
least.
20 yards at least. So he's gone until he hits the safety. So that could be a problem. I mean, that is kind of, maybe they do play that a little bit different because of him. But, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I bet my guess is they're going to stack the box.
Probably.
And they're going to make OSU beat them through the air.
Yeah.
What is that game? Is that our last one of the last ones?
Yeah, that looks like it's the last game.
That's interesting because Caleb Kelly will be allowed to play in that game. He's going to redshirt this year. He's got 4 games to play.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so he'll play those.
I'm wondering if they do bring him back for the last couple games, and then they expect to play in the playoff, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So, especially if they're undefeated, going up in, what's it, TCU?
TCU, yeah.
So they get to TCU and...
I mean, the rest of the schedule...
What kind of records are they going
State's
against?
Pretty good this year.
Baylor's undefeated. I mean, that's
Baylor's
the thing. We don't
undefeated.
really know how good Baylor is. They
Who
haven't
have
really
they played?
anybody.
Oh, they haven't played anybody?
They
played
barely beat
Tech.
Everyone they've played.
Yeah.
Huh.
Played Tech. They went to double overtime, I believe, in that game.
Yeah, beat Iowa State by 2, beat Tech
Ooh.
by 3.
Sounds like they got some clutch genes.
Yeah.
But I kind of like this coach. I mean, he's a no nonsense type of guy, and he keys on physicality, and so I mean that's really where they've made their strides. They have that Sims guy, the wide receiver. He's like 6'4", pretty quick. Always plays good against OU.
Yeah.
Pretty average most of the year until he plays OU. So, but yeah, I can't remember who is their quarterback's name. Is that Brewer? Oh.
So, we got West Virginia up next.
Mm-hmm.
Who's after that, Keaton?
Brewer. That's what his name
Is it Iowa State?
West Virginia, Kansas State, Iowa State, Baylor, TCU,
No.
OSU.
So out of those, you say Iowa State and OSU are probably the toughest matchups?
Iowa State and maybe Baylor.
I think Baylor. I'm still thinking Baylor's a good team.
I mean, they're undefeated, so.
They have to be better than Tech.
Yep.
Even though I think Tech is, I mean, they're still missing their quarterback. But I just don't think Tech is all that good. But yeah, I think Baylor is better than what people are giving them credit for. And what are they ranked? 18. They're we were talking about this before the podcast. Like Texas has 2 losses and they're still ranked ahead of them.
Yep.
Like no one's giving any respect to Baylor, so I'm
Which
sure
I feel like that makes it worse for the team they're playing because they've got a chip on their shoulder every week.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean this OU team has the opportunity to go undefeated, and we haven't really. I mean that hasn't happened since what 2000. That would have been the national championship year.
Well, I mean, as OU, you want to go undefeated, and you also want your strength.
Well, I think you have to if you want to go to the playoff.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to get in if they can't lose now. You know.
Well, but also when in the Big 12 championship, you want that other team to be undefeated, right?
They can't
They
because
can't.
we play everybody. It's
Yeah.
a 10-team. I mean, the schedule doesn't permit.
So you want
that.
their only loss to be to OU, pretty much.
Yeah. So it would have to be Baylor, I would assume. You need Baylor to be good.
You need Baylor to be good, and you need to smoke them.
Yeah.
Because then you play them again in the Big 12 championship,
Right.
and then that boosts you up to in the top 4.
Look, even if they barely win all the rest of their games, they're going to get in just because of the people that are above them right now in their schedules. Because, what is it? LSU plays Alabama.
LSU is ranked, what, 4th?
They're 4. I can't remember. I mean, either way, they're above
all
OU.
interchangeable.
Yeah, they're right above OU, and OU's 5. So
And who else is up there?
So regardless, they'll have the opportunity to be one of the top 4 spots.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. Regardless of how they play for the rest of the year, but I think this is their best opportunity in the last, 20 years to go undefeated. So, yeah,
it goes Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Ohio State.
Ohio State, yeah.
And
Which,
OU.
we're going to learn how good Wisconsin is, too, this year as well.
So the top 7 teams right now are undefeated.
I didn't even realize Wisconsin was.
So then it
they
goes
beat
OU, Wisconsin,
the
and Penn
brakes off
State.
of Michigan, man.
They
Beat the tar out of Michigan. Like, it wasn't even close. They had, I think it was 30-something to 0 at halftime. And, yeah, Michigan is always overrated. And I don't know how Jim Harbaugh, whatever you say his last name, is still there at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know how that. Whether he signed a 10-year contract when he first got there or something ridiculous. I don't know how he stays there. I'm sure that there's boosters. Whoever's paying the bills.
It just looks good on the. I bet it just looks good on the program that he was an NFL coach.
Well, it was, but he also went to Michigan. He was the quarterback in Michigan. In college. So, he went there and he said that was his dream job.
I'm surprised Notre Dame is still top 10 after last year.
Dude, they should be automatically disqualified because they don't play in a conference. That just upsets me so much that they can literally. And they had a loss last year. Did they have? No, they went undefeated. They went undefeated.
But they got smacked in the playoff, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
That's
why I was saying they should be disqualified because they got smacked so bad.
Yeah.
But okay, so Alabama and LSU play each other.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson, does Clemson play any of the top 5?
No.
Because they're
Clemson plays
ACC.
no one all year long.
And then Ohio State, they play.
Clemson's going undefeated for the rest of the season.
Clemson, their toughest game all year is going to be A&M.
And then who does Ohio State play?
They play Michigan, Wisconsin, and they'll play Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game if they don't play them this year.
Oh, they're playing them.
Oh, they play them this year.
They play them next week? Oh.
Yeah, next weekend. Not this weekend.
And then Penn State. Who does Penn State play?
Oh, they're undefeated too.
Yeah, those are the top 7 teams.
Yeah.
It goes Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and Penn State.
Minnesota, Michigan, Indiana.
Well,
they play Ohio State.
Okay. So those teams could knock each other out.
Yeah. This is why we need an 8-team playoff. 8 teams would.
Well, but not all those teams are going to go undefeated because they play each other.
No, but there's always.
They could be a fluke
one-loss
game.
teams that are on the 5th spot.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about an 18 playoff.
Why?
Because it adds a game.
Yeah,
It's already so many more. I know it's more football. It's good for the fans, but it's not good for the players. That's what I'm saying.
Taking the NFL route of.
It depends on if they actually go to school or not.
Yeah.
If that's a real thing, then it sucks.
Yeah.
For the actual players. If they actually have to go to school, which
bowl games take a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
They're there almost the whole week.
And that's basically, if you make it through the playoffs, that's 2 bowl games essentially. So that's just a lot to put on.
I've been to some bowl games, and like I said, it takes a lot. You're missing a ton of class.
Yeah.
Granted, those teams they bring, obviously, they're big schools, so they bring tutors with them. They bring teachers' assistants to come teach them the material, help them through the material. So they're missing a lot of school, but are they actually missing? Kind of. You can never replace
being in the actual class.
Being in the actual classroom.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's always things that are missed, but like I said, bowl games just take a lot out of you because you have such a regimented schedule from your team. You have so many media. Like, you talk to the media pretty much every day.
Right.
And it just takes a lot out of you. And you almost, like, being there is almost a distraction.
Well, it has to be. I mean, you don't really have a whole lot of time
you're
for
just thinking about that, I guess.
for school. And, I mean...
Well, I'm not even saying just from school. I'm saying for football, it's a distraction from football. I mean, you're thinking about football, but
Yeah.
you're not practicing hard because you don't want to get anybody injured. You're not.
Right.
It's.
Right.
I know. So, being kind of close to the OSU program, Gundy hates bowl games because of how different they are from regular games.
Well, again, Gundy's kind of an idiot. I don't...
But like,
He doesn't get any good.
Yeah, he needs to go to the
I've been to
good
some
ones.
good bowl games with the OSU program, so it's just.
We're losing power.
Yeah, I forgot to pay the bill this week, or this month. But I mean, they're just so different compared to a normal game.
Right.
Like, your different schedule, different eating habits, different. You're in a hotel, you're in a different place. It's just so different. You're taking a bus to every practice field, all that kind of stuff. It just is annoying for the team.
Right.
If you just did a normal game, I'm sure it wouldn't be as bad, but
Yeah, and then you have a bigger chance to get injured and
upset.
yeah. Well, and the thing is it would be good this year, but think of it last year. There was such a big gap, I feel like, in between the number 4 team and the number 5 team. I felt like there was a huge gap in between those two.
It was the big argument between OU versus Ohio State.
It wasn't an argument. Ohio State lost 2 games. That was a
Ohio State
ridiculous.
lost 1 game.
No, that was a ridiculous argument. They lost to Purdue and somebody else.
Well,
I didn't like the argument then.
And you hate it even more now.
I hate it now because it didn't make sense to me. They lost twice. They shouldn't have been considered. And
Was it
the
Ohio
only
State or
reason
was it
why they
Purdue?
made that a big deal is because Urban Meyer said it was his last year.
Yeah.
I felt like, and
I think I'm mixing it up. It had to do with if Alabama lost. Okay, so if Alabama lost,
that's
that
that's
was
probably
the
more
issue,
so.
'cause OU
Yeah.
would have been out. That was
Mhm.
that was it.
And Georgia, which I didn't understand that argument either, because
Georgia wanted to get it. Yes.
yeah,
and
Georgia
they
getting
did
in
lost
because
the
I was
playoff
like,
game.
dude, like if you can't beat them then, why are you gonna beat them?
Next time, yeah.
You know, a week from now. You know,
Yeah.
like what's
No one wants to see that game twice.
yeah, exactly. It was a boring game anyway. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm interested to see if if this team does get to the playoff. I'm interested to see if they've made that gap in between the Oklahoma and the Alabama, Clemson. They've made
It's all
that
about
gap.
The defense.
I know. I think it is, and you got to wonder if they're at very least closer.
Yeah.
Which I think they are. I mean,
The defense has taken 5 steps forward.
mhm.
Offense has
One step back.
1 step back. So
Yeah, I think that's
Last
probably
year
where we're at.
We beat Alabama in 3 of the 4 quarters. They just beat us so bad in the first
Oh my
quarter.
gosh.
Well, I mean, Lincoln now has more experience in the playoff. I mean, as a coach, how to
Yeah.
prepare your team.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
I don't
that's
know if that.
You don't think that matters?
There's a big talent gap.
I felt like last year, especially on defense, like defense killed us last year.
Yep.
There was no way that we were gonna win that game. There just wasn't. Because
You had to score on every
I
drive
mean,
and get 1 stop.
I know, but like we couldn't score. There was no way that we were gonna score on every drive against that defense.
No. And I mean, it started out 28-0. didn't
No.
it?
Yeah, 21 or 28, something like
Yeah.
that. But there was no way that we were gonna score on every drive. So my biggest thing is I think that we've made the gap a little bit smaller,
Yep.
at very least. And who knows? We might get past the first round this year. Who knows? But I think that we're a lot closer. But like we kind of skipped over it a little bit. But Caleb Kelly, I guarantee you that he's gonna play this year.
You think so?
I think so because he's already, they've said that he's looked really good, in some of his rehab and stuff like that. And he's a guy that's made so many play in a Mike Stoops defense, which is hard to do. It's hard to
Yeah.
make plays in a Mike Stoops defense. So I'm sure in an Alex Grinch defense, he would be he'd probably be the best linebacker that's ever lived.
At least for OU.
Exactly. But I think that he would play in that rush position,
Yeah.
which is, was it John Michael Terry, I think, I think he's an Oklahoma guy, actually. Went to Midwest City, I think. But, yeah, I mean, John Michael Terry isn't something to write home about, in my opinion. I mean, he's just kind of, he's there. I feel like if Caleb is there, because he was a guy that always was in the backfield when he was allowed to rush. I feel like if he was in the rush linebacker position, he'd be outstanding.
Yep.
I think that position's almost made for him.
Yeah.
In a way. I mean, he's about 230 and, as fast as a hiccup, So I feel like he'd be really good in that position. And he might be, something that's really good against the Alabamas and the Clemsons of the world. Because I don't think that we have that pure pass rusher right now.
Yeah.
So what happened to Caleb Kelly? Sorry, I must
He tore
be
his ACL in the
off season.
Okay. Yeah, in the spring. So he'll be. I mean.
So you're thinking that OU's defense hasn't even been truly unlocked without him back?
I think so. I think he's. Like I was saying, Mike Stoops' defense was so timid. Like it just seemed like they were just playing not to get beat type of stuff.
No big plays.
No big plays, and he still made plays. And he was a 5-star linebacker coming out of high school. I mean, the kid is immensely.
To play for Mike Stoops.
hey, you can say whatever you want. Mike Stoops was a great recruiter. I mean, just an outstanding recruiter. But it's just what he did after they got there that really kind of screwed up their careers. So, but yeah, the guy was immensely a talented player. Just a freak athlete. I mean, you know which one's Caleb Kelly when he's walking off the bus, type of guy. So I think once they get him back, and because they're going to redshirt him. There's no point in him playing against West Virginia or whatever, but and I think he still needs some time to rehab or whatever. But
those red shirts, do they count if they play in the playoff games, or is it just regular season?
I'm sure they count. I would think they count.
I'm sure they count.
So they'll probably account for if they made it to the national championship and.
I would think so.
So you're thinking he might only just play
2 games?
He'd probably play 2 games, which you play against Oklahoma State, which is that's a good talent, it's a good warm up. But I really think that in this defense, Caleb Kelly will be something special. I think this defense is kind of built for him in a way. So, I mean, this guy had NFL scouts when he was in high school saying, I don't care what happens with him at Oklahoma. In the 7th round, I'm going to pick him up.
No matter what.
No matter what. I mean, that's what people were saying about him when he came out of high school. So, the talent's there.
Yeah.
And, we like we started off talking about. I mean, the talent has always been there on this defense.
It's just the direction.
It's just the direction.
The scheme.
Exactly. So, I think that, I think he's a player to look out for. I think I'm sure we're getting close to wrapping up here.
Yeah. And we'll have some hot takes after this. So,
just wanted to bring up some young players that kind of stood out to me. Jaden Hazelwood.
That's the
receiver.
Yeah.
The freshman wide receiver.
5-star, right?
Yeah. So, he's so good. That kid.
CD spot.
Exactly. I mean, that dude is so good. He's gonna be. You can tell he's gonna be really good. Marcus Stripling, the guy that's played at defensive end, and I think he played for a couple series at Rush, but he's super fast and this type of size that Grinch wants it on the defensive line. So, and Jaden Davis, for the first couple of games, he looked like our best cornerback.
Yeah.
He kind of didn't play a whole lot in Texas, but Lincoln Riley doesn't really play a whole lot of younger players in that game.
Yeah.
He hasn't. Since he became head coach. So, I guess that might have something to do with that. And David Awegbu, I think that's how you say that last name. But he's moved in between nickel and the rush linebacker position. And nickel, when they put him at nickel, it's more of a short yardage type situation.
Yeah.
So, they take
It's
Buki out of there.
Almost a run stopper.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just in like short yardage situations, just to get more size on the field.
Body.
Yeah, and but he's mainly at the rush position, and he's played really well. I think he actually had a sack. It was either him or Stripling against Texas. So one of those two, I can't remember which one. It might have been a Stripling.
So those guys are pretty young. I mean,
yeah, they're freshmen.
Yeah,
They're true freshmen. So, and then Jalen Redmond, he had the blood clot issue last year, didn't play. He played in a couple games actually, but the dude's huge, just gigantic. He's kind of that like SEC type defensive end.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like, and just muscled, and he's got a great future. They moved him inside. He plays D tackle. But he's super good. He didn't have a sack, but he hit Sam Ellinger so hard after a play, it hurt me a little bit. Like, he hit him so hard, right in the chest, and so. But yeah, he's played really well. But those are some of the younger players that kind of stood out to me, and especially early on. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
okay. Do we want to do hot takes next? Do you have any hot
Mm.
takes, Ryan? You want to think about it a little bit?
Yeah, let me think about it.
Okay.
I don't really have a hot
You don't have any
I don't
hot
have
take?
a hot take. I just
Well, I didn't know if you
wanna
wanted to
say- Yeah, just wait. Update what?
Update from the first OU podcast preview, but I don't remember what you said.
I said that CD Lamb would be the best receiver in the country, and I think I am right.
Okay. I don't know. Okay, so you still agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
You said you had some other final thoughts though?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Lincoln Riley has shown with the hiring of Alex Grinch and how good the defense has gotten, that we're on the way to becoming an Alabama Clemson dynasty for the next decade almost.
If they can
We have
keep
the recruiting's incredible right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, something we talked off the podcast was if we could keep Lincoln Riley against NFL.
I don't want to speculate against on that. It'll just be
I
heartbreaking.
think it depends on if Dallas keeps their head coach, which, I mean, they just lost the last two
Doesn't
games, so
look
who
like it.
knows? I mean, I don't know. Jerry's always that type of guy that keeps him a year longer than he should. But,
so I'll go ahead and say kind of a hot take. I think OU will go undefeated. I don't know if that's necessarily a hot take, but I think OU's going to go undefeated. They'll make the playoff, and they have definitely a shot at winning the championship. But I think it all rides on Jalen. I think the defense is pretty much proved. I mean, obviously they've only played Texas as their main threat, but if they can continue to ball out like they have been, it all falls on Jalen if he can perform in big games and
Lincoln, in a way, just his play calling.
Play calling.
I mean, against Georgia, I hate to bring up that game, but against Georgia in the second half, I mean, the conservative play calls really killed us.
Sticking to our identity is what is important. And Jalen, I think important thing is minimizing turnovers for Jalen, and Jalen can stay healthy. I know that health.
Big
I don't know
too.
if health has been a huge thing for him.
How much he runs, yeah.
But he's running so much that you play against some of those.
Well, he
big
said he hurt his
SEC.
hand.
Oh yeah, I guess yeah.
You know, against Texas in the first drive or whatever. I mean, I don't know how much like I said, I don't know how much I believe that, but.
But I mean, he just runs so much. That's the
gonna
best.
happen.
I mean, say the best way. The worst and easiest way to get injured is running the ball, and he's the type of guy to try to plow through everybody instead of sliding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
because he squats 600 pounds.
Yeah,
I would
that-
too.
that- but
I mean, I think he needs to be sliding more, and like I said,
yeah.
it all. I truly think it all falls on Jalen if he can perform and minimize the turnovers in big games.
Yeah, I think you should.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe that might not even be a hot take. That might just be just a regular.
No, I think I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think Kenneth Murray probably wins the Buckets Award.
Is that
I think-
defensive player of the year
No,
or
that's
linebacker?
the
of the year?
linebacker of the year. I think the last was probably Teddy Lehman. I think Teddy won one.
How long ago was that?
That had been 2005 or something like that.
I mean, that was before I started following football, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's too young.
Oh yeah, I mean I just know that for some
Oh,
reason.
okay.
But I just know he won one because he's on the radio all the time and he brings it up a lot.
Oh,
'cause
yeah, that was me.
The
back in my day, you know.
squatting 600 pounds.
Yeah. But I think he wins it. I just don't know of another linebacker. I mean, and I followed college football pretty closely, so I just can't think of another linebacker that's even in the running right now.
I mean,
Yeah.
Big 12 gives out awards, right?
yeah.
So he'll probably win.
I mean,
Best linebacker
he's
of
already
Big 12.
like almost every week he's winning defensive player
Of
the week. So
For the league or for NCAA or
for the Big 12,
Okay.
I think he's won it for the
For NCAA.
for the NCAA.
I want to say
think he
league,
has.
but that's NFL.
I know I've seen him on some award. I don't remember what it's called, but I think he wins it.
And he's
I don't
marketing
know.
himself
Yeah, I mean, he
enough.
he'll you just ask him about it, he'll tell you.
I actually do have
he'll tell you
a
how
hot
good he
take
is.
now. Jalen wins the Heisman.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that because he's starting to just throw to CD. He completely ignored him in the first few games, and now he's just throwing to him. So he's going to win the Heisman.
He was setting
And
it
now
up for the Texas game. That's what he was doing.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
making him forget about CD
making him
Lamb
fall
over
asleep.
there.
Well, doesn't CD
The All-American.
CD Lamb is leading OU in pass yards, isn't he? Or, I
Yeah.
mean, receiving yards.
I would assume
yeah.
so.
But in
Actually,
the
the
last
first
game-
couple of games, it wasn't CD. I think it was Rambo.
Yeah,
It probably
'cause
was.
he
Well,
wasn't
Rambo had
throwing
those
to him, is he?
explosive plays.
Which he's got the greatest name
Yeah, he does. The best football name.
Rambo.
that I've probably ever heard. Just in general. Just in general, that's a great
You talking about
name.
CD or Rambo?
Charles Rambo. Like,
Oh.
That's an amazing name.
It's almost as good as John Rambo.
Yeah.
But
But, yeah, I think that... I don't know how I feel about him winning a Heisman. I mean, I just feel like that's so
It's
unlike...
unfair.
That would be something that never happens again.
Ever again.
3 in a row, that would be something that's just unheard of.
Yep.
I mean, 2 in the same position, that's never been done before. And then it would be 3.
Same position, same school. 1 after that. That is insane.
Lincoln
Yeah.
Riley would be
I mean,
the
you
GOAT.
imagine
The
being
actual
Lincoln
GOAT.
Riley and walking into a high school quarterback
You
recruit's
wanna
house.
win the Heisman?
Hey, kid.
That's
Did you
why
watch the last couple drafts?
That's
I can
why
get you to be
said-
the number 1 pick.
That's
Yeah.
why I said Jalen would transfer before he even OU was considered. I was like, oh, he's coming to OU.
We
for
should have been
sure.
doing podcasts before.
Yeah.
so
Well,
we
what
can
are
do
the
these hot
other?
takes.
What are the other? I think Maryland and Miami.
Yeah, Miami was the big one.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma had a good shot in
Yeah,
that one.
they didn't even say we were in the running, so
That's just
It just shows you the polls are fake news.
fake news.
I could have made a lot of money sports gambling on that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, anything else? Anything else you want to say, Ryan?
I think I'm good, man.
Okay. Keaton, you got anything else? Or?
Nope.
All right. This has been Simply Technical. Thank you so much for stopping by, Ryan,
Awesome.
and giving us some of your knowledge and being the most prepared guest we've ever had.
Thank you.
This guy has pages of notes. We probably could have made this a 2-hour podcast, but it's past my bedtime. So, but anyways, thanks for stopping in, Ryan, and thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast, and subscribe for every podcast that comes out. Thank you so much.
Sweet.
That was pretty good. Awesome.